This is Wild on 7th, your favorite Wild podcast. Did you guys see this? This is unbelievable. What is that all about, Kinger?
Get in here for the real thing. Like, let's get weird.
Maybe I blacked out trying to figure out what was going on.
Doubt, worry, fear, because that's what we're breaking the mold on here.
Welcome to Wild on 7th, presented by Pilot Games. We're here until it's here.
All right, welcome back to Wild on 7th, your favorite Wild podcast. I'm Ryan Carter with my man John King here. This brought to you by our friends at Pilot Games. Make sure when you're out enjoying your, well, we like to say libations on the show, don't we, John?
It's a good word.
Yeah.
Sophisticated.
Yeah.
Sounds like less trouble.
And you need a little extra entertainment. Make sure you use their digital products. Grab one of those tablets, play some games, because when you do, your community wins. You might be donating a couple dollars. You might take a couple dollars, so you can always donate them back. But no, obviously they do a lot of good things for the youth programs around the state of Minnesota. So thank you, Pilot Games. Kinger, the Wild are there. I kind of feel like it's things are starting to catch up with them a little bit.
Injuries,
yes, and they're finding ways to win, but it's different. We're coming off a weekend where they went to Anaheim, and Anaheim, they really struggled.
Yeah,
I don't know if that Jacob Trouba trade news mid-morning shook them up, or if they just really do struggle that bad. I'd heard that they had been playing better. At that point, they had points in like 6 of their last 10 games. They were playing well and winning, and now they were without a couple guys, Leo Carlson and Trevor Zegras. But, man, they didn't have much push against the Wild.
Gibson had the backup camera going. He was looking behind himself a lot that night. And he's a good goalie. I mean, historically, good American boy. But
if this was 4 or 5 years ago, he would have been the Hellebuck, the Thatcher Demko, or you name it, Jake Ottinger, the U.S. goaltender, in favor of playing for the Four Nations. I mean, that's where he was.
He was looking behind him half the game. I mean, just kind of with his hand on his butt. You know, that's not a good feeling as a goalie. Like when you see your goalie doing that a lot, that's like when you see your dog wiping his butt on the carpet after he goes outside. You don't want to see a goalie doing that.
No, that's frightening.
That was a sluggish group. I think between Nashville coming to town and then that Anaheim game, we've seen some teams that just haven't been at their best occasionally, I think.
No, I think you're right. And then you go to L.A., and I think the Wild are just a little outmatched in L.A., and that's the first time I think we could see what the Wild were missing.
They're a nemesis now, I would say, wouldn't you? I mean,
like how LA just finds a way to beat us all the time.
LA's a problem.
Play LA in the playoffs.
You got the Fiala thing. You got, I don't know. That was a weird game though with the back-to-back. I kind of felt like it was like, what do they call it? A schedule loss or something like it. It didn't feel right from the start. It was just sort of like, yeah, we're going to take this one. This one isn't happening. Like, that's the feeling I had as a fan. I'm not saying the players had that, but I was watching it. I'm like, yeah, I don't think this one's not going to go our way.
I think that I shared the same feeling when the Wild had like three real good chances on Kemper early and didn't score. It kind of started to feel like, this might be one of the ones where if you don't score on your chances early, you might not get many later. And they ended up having to chase the game a little bit. But offensively, they've struggled isn't the right word because they're finding ways to win. But let's go back 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
You've got the Winnipeg Jets. The Wild lose that one 4-1.
Yep.
And you go to Buffalo, you win 1-0. 2 goals in 2 games, but you took 2 points off that.
Thanksgiving.
You go to Chicago, and you find a way to win in overtime, 3-2. Nashville, 3-2. But in both those games, regulation, they've scored 2 goals. So you go 4 games in a row, 1 goal, 1 goal, 2 goal, 2 goal. You've got to be playing such good defense to be able to win those games. And they found a way. They found a way to win 3 of those games. That's terrific. Then you go into the following week. The Vancouver game, they win 3-2. They get 3 goals. You go to the Ducks. Okay, finally, yes, offensive explosion. 5 goals. They were the better team. They looked like the better team. They made pretty plays. They scored ugly goals. Everything looked good. Then you go to the Kings, 1 goal. And it's starting to look like, okay, if you're playing a good defensive team without some of the guys that you need to be offensive drivers out there or complements to your offensive drivers, it starts to get hard for you to generate 3-4 goals a night, which is going to be required to win games. But on the flip side of that, if you look at the matchup against LA, just the numbers, the head-to-head and where they rank and how well they play in the 2 hottest teams going into a game, those teams were both good because of how they're able to play on the defensive side of the puck. I think the Wild were number 1 in goals against, and LA was 4 or 5 in goals against at that point. LA's likely climbed that chart, having only given up 1 to Minnesota.
And they don't even have Doughty in the lineup, right? I mean,
we didn't get this in the broadcast, but it's actually crazy. So LA prefers to go 11-7. That means 11 forwards, 7D. They don't have Doughty, and they're still playing 7D. Under their new head coach, Hiller, with the 11-7 alignment, they're plus 32 on goal differential.
Who are their stud D? Like, who's kind of stealing the show on the back end for them? Or is it just Kopitar locking everything down, too, as a forward?
Well, I think some of it is Kopitar. Some of it, they've got good young guys. They've got Spence. Edmondson is good. Gavrikov is good. They've brought some guys in that are just steady. And I don't know if Hiller likes to now, and Hines has done this, but he does this, but in a different way than 11-7. But what he does is mixes the lines up, throws Kirill out there, creates a spark. I think that's what Hiller likes to do with the 11-7. So all of a sudden he's like, all these guys can play together. I'm not concerned with chemistry and a line being together all the time. I like a different element at different times.
So he likes to throw dice on the back end, and Hines likes to throw the Kirill dice on the front end?
Yeah.
I wouldn't think, it seems like on defense you wouldn't want to do that. You wouldn't want to shuffle the deck. It seems scarier. Like the forward one makes sense. Like, oh, give him a jolt. Doesn't hurt to have 97 on your line for 45 seconds. But that's interesting that he scrambles the eggs on the back end.
Loves it. In fact, since he's done it, 14-2-1 when he's gone 11-7, plus 32 goal differential, and the most lopsided victory he's had going with 11-7 was against Minnesota, 6-0. He won 6-0, and then he goes out and he does it again Saturday evening, 5-1 this time. So when he rolls 11 forwards, 7D, it gives the Wild fits. But he's good at it, so they've started to do that more now.
Do you think he plays craps?
I don't know.
I mean, 11-7. I mean, it seems like he's set up for it. How about this Kempe? Is he a wild killer or what? Like, I looked at... They had him 1.5 points on the little gambling app for that game. He got the first one, I believe. And is he a guy that notoriously gives us difficulties, that Kempe?
I think he's just one of those really underrated goal scorers. Looking back now on the teams that LA had when they were good and winning cups, they had goal scorers that I think were underappreciated. It's the West Coast thing. I think I've talked about, I did on the broadcast about Kopitar and how if he played in Boston, he'd be a household name. He'd be like a Christopher, I don't know, like so much bigger than he is playing in LA because people go to bed and they don't see and appreciate what he's done. But the dude has 1,400 games played, almost 1,300 points, 2 Stanley Cups, Selke trophies. He's unbelievable.
And he's like as good now as he was before. And he's still shutting people down.
And you don't hear about it. I think Kempe, Tyler Toffoli, a lot of these guys are that way. Adrian Kempe, I'm like, who is this young guy? He's not a young guy. Even I follow it. He's good, flat out good. And he caught me by surprise.
Yeah, it's a tough matchup, the old LA Kings. It'd be nice to get them. Whenever we play them, sometimes it's a crazy game. I think we had that 7-5 special a while back, but yeah, I can't pin them down. Like you said, I think it's that you don't know a lot about them.
What do you think of did you see the Foligno fight with Tanner Jeannot?
Yep. I don't even remember thinking anything of it though.
I don't know what started it. I don't know what led to it. All I know is that Marcus punched a visor and somehow still cut Tanner Janot through a visor. I was like, how does this guy do this? He just throws cinder blocks.
Yeah, somebody asked me, they said, if you have Foligno on the podcast, ask him who the toughest guy he ever fought was, or has he ever got? Like, has Foligno?
Yeah, he got. He got.
We
got
asked
with
him
the
this.
Wild.
Who got him?
Well, a couple people.
Who? I don't even remember. That would be a very.
I don't think we need to talk about this, but there was a Chicago one.
Okay.
And then there was also an instance where I think Reeves maybe got him. You remember that photo?
Yeah, because then when they came back to town, yeah. But what do you think that is? It's just his fists, right? They're just made of.
He throws cinder blocks.
Do you think he could break a visor? You know how people would break backboards, like Shaq? How great would that be? You punch a visor and it shatters and you hit the guy in the face. That could happen, right?
It could.
Or maybe it's impossible, right? Because pucks would do it if that was the case. That's something to shoot for. I would love to see Marcus break a visor and punch through it.
So let's get to the Bosch Law injury report right now. So you've got Eriksson Ek out. We've got Jonas Brodin, Matt Zuccarello. Lauko's with the team, still out. But he looks like he's getting closer. But promising because we see light workout, light skating duty for Matt Zuccarello and Jonas Brodin potentially. But if the Wild can get Zuccarello back, all of a sudden now you start to feel better about your offense. At least I do.
Well, it's kind of fun with this Bosch Law sponsorship is pretty timely, and just walking into the rink and the injured guys are out there and just seeing Zuki out there just smiling, you know. I don't know what level he's at. I don't know how close he is, but he's like Kirill, right? They want to be on the ice. It was him and Brodin just screwing around with the puck, and they were moving fast too. I don't know. It made me feel good. It's like, okay. Because I was the Kings game, it gave me like with Ek being hurt, it's like, oh no, is this going to like change? Is this going to be a 2-week dark period? Or,
yeah,
I definitely have a lot of anxiety, even though we're like number one in the NHL. Like I'm not. I don't feel sick.
Do we need a therapy session? Is this like is this like Kirk Cousins
coming back to town
and he's taking the chains back or something?
Well, that was the whole deal. When he was playing the Vikings yesterday, I texted my buddies and said, if Kirk comes and beats us and puts those chains on the plane home, the
magic is over.
I'm gonna be so upset. Like that would be that's just so disrespectful, and like I don't know, that's not good. But I still am kind of I don't feel safe. And so there's something what I mean by that is when you see something that could give you positive energy and push you forward another week or two, right? Because I always look at every week. Okay, we play 4 games this week. That's a lot of games. I think we played 4 the week before. Now, if Brodin and Zuki come back quick here and we get a shot in the arm positive, that can propel you. You know, maybe you win a couple. You know, maybe you get a little juice. Maybe something happens and you push through, because I was just starting to feel like, man, we're getting frayed, right? Like we've got Ek out, Brodin out, Lauko out, Zuki out. I was like, this is starting to feel fragile. Like we're cutting into bone and muscle. But yeah, I hope we get a bolster. I hope one of those guys pops in.
We've talked about this before. Sometimes when you're feeling uncomfortable, you eat to make yourself feel a little bit better. Wow. If you needed a comfort snack, where would you find one?
Well, I think the thing you're referring to is eating your feelings, and I don't know that I would normally do that with Jimmy's dips. That would be a very good feeling. I think I would be feeling good about myself if I was doing that. But that is a choice one could make, is to go over to the grocery store. We're in that window. You ate a bunch for Thanksgiving. You're probably going to hammer it over the Christmas holiday. Maybe tighten up over these next few weeks. Get a veggie tray. Get some veggie dip from Jimmy's. Maybe get the dill. Maybe get the ranch. Do yourself a favor. Find Jimmy's at the grocery store. Salad dressings and dips. Don't you be messing with my dressing. I never know which one you're going to do, so I'm not going to transition you. You got to do it yourself. I guess.
Well, I would do
and I always do the roof. I always am like all I can think of is like roof repair, but it's like December. I also can't say the word roof very well. It sounds like
a dog.
Yeah, roof.
I got another point about a dog I'm going to bring up after coming out of this.
All right, I'm going to try to give you the hardest transition. Have you had any eggnog over the holidays?
No, but if I did, I would use the cleanest ice in it. And in all honesty, no. What we're going to do this week is we're going to talk about my experience with Aquarius Home Services. It's a family-owned and operated business, and I appreciate that aspect of it. Derek
was in the house?
Derek has been in the house a lot.
Okay.
He probably knows the combo to my garage door. I trust him with it. He's been there. He's worked on it when I've not been there. But they do a great job. And I think when a business is family-owned, they take pride in their work. Aquarius Home Services does exactly that. He always comes in. He's respectful. He puts the booties on. He walks through the house. He gets the job done. He's professional. He communicates well with me, with my wife. He's always courteous to our schedule, lets us know when we're going to be there. And I think that attention to detail does come from the fact that it is a family-owned and operated business. I love working with them. I love their products. I highly recommend them. AquariusHomeservices.com. They've earned the right to be recommended.
Good work.
Thank you, brother. So we've got to get back to this because the point I was going to make is when I have a puppy at home, and this is kind of at the forefront of my mind lately. When there's a behavior that needs to be corrected, they say you've got to catch them in the act.
Okay.
You, as a Minnesota sports fan, I think we just caught you in the act, waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Yeah, no, for sure. Although on the flip side, I did something in that LA game I don't know that I've ever done. I was like, you know what? Screw this game. We're just going to lose this one.
And you were okay with that?
Yeah, I was like, it's back to back. Got a lot of guys out. I can tell they're tired. Flush it. Get home. We'll go to Utah. I don't know. I'd never do that. I felt like a Patriots fan for like a second. I was like, you know what? Like
you kind of felt like Tom Brady all of a sudden being like, it's okay. We're not going to win every single game.
Yeah, I was like,
and that's fine.
Yeah, I was like,
just go to the next one.
Yeah, like this is
you're turning into a pro.
Like, can we fast forward this because this is not happening tonight? And let's go to that. I did have that, but I do have
and that's a new feeling.
So I'll give you some of the fan stuff. I wonder if other people do this. So I am anxious about how much we've played. Because we've been doing so good that it's like a marathon. I'm constantly like, are we at mile 6 or are we at mile 9? Because if we're this good and we're at like mile 11, okay. Even if we walk a little bit at the end, we're still going to get a good time. So 27 games, number 1 in the West with 40 points. So we've gone to the bank quite a bit and made some deposits. But I just want to keep going. I also don't want to win the President's Trophy because that, for some reason, seems scary and something bad's going to happen. I'm thinking about all the stuff.
It's the opposite.
Every Wild fan's thinking of it. Like if we
got to be like, hey, yes, let's break that trend. Let's prove that you can win the President's Trophy and the Stanley Cup. That's not real.
I know. You know how many Wild fans I've heard say, if they play this good and we still have a trouble in the first round, it's going to be even worse, man. Like I've had people say that, but I don't want to be that. I really don't. So you have to now. This is not going to work out well for me, though, because I think when you catch a dog in the act, like you like rub their nose in it or something. I don't want you to do that.
No, it's the opposite. It's the opposite. What you do is you catch them in the act, and then you redirect them towards the right behavior, and you give them a treat. So I should have probably given you a treat right now, and maybe the treat is going to be the information. It's sustainable. The Wild, it's fine. The defense, the numbers are there. They're number 1 again, or for goals against. The goaltending is there. And I think the point I was making about the LA Kings and the Wild playing each other, they're 2 of the best and hottest teams right now. And they're that way not because they score a lot, but because they don't get scored on a lot. And that is sustainable. What we're seeing in the statistics offensively is that scoring can go up and down in a hurry. We scored a ton in the early part of the year. We're not now. Still winning games, but it's not because we're scoring. It's because we're not letting the other team score on us. right? So if you look at the goals against, much better situation. So it's sustainable. You are right in that it's okay. Throw that LA game out.
Yeah, at least I did that.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? We don't need it.
Yeah. And that's fine. You're not going to win all of them. You're not going to win all of them. And when you bank points early in the year, you can say, toss it out. That's fine.
Yeah.
I'm actually surprised the Wild have taken points in 22 of 26. In this game, they didn't. It's okay to have taken points in 22 of 27 games.
Do you want to watch the film? No, we don't. Just throw it away. We're focused on Utah. So I did. That was good. I'm growing. I think I am growing. I feel good about that. But it's so a couple things now. Just if we're really going to help the fans, because that's what we do here. So here's the things that I hear. You're on the broadcast a lot, and I can tell these. There's two themes, and they're exactly the same theme. It's are we going to score dirty goals when we need them? I know that's something you're invested in. And now today, the compounding factor of that is, can we get 3? The race to 3. Because, if you got a fan in your garage talking to them about the Wild this season, they'll say, good goaltending, great defense, and we're getting enough scoring out of 97 and Boldy. And that's enough to win most nights. But gets harder as you go forward. So as you're thinking that we're going to get, some of these, we're going to start getting offense from different people. It's cyclical. We are going to start scoring more than 2 goals on occasion. Yeah. Maybe Hartsey heats up, or some of these other guys. We've got some guys that still can pop offensively that haven't.
And I think what the Wild don't have up front right now that they do when healthy is balance. So you do. Let's say you go against a big club like LA. They were able to keep Boldy and Capri-off quiet. Anaheim could not. But the big team, LA, the good team, could. Right? And then when those guys are loaded up, then you're asking the other guys to all of a sudden score 3 or 4 goals. That gets hard. And when you get a guy like Matt Zuccarello back and you go, okay, now we've got Kirill and Zuki as a pair. Maybe you put Hartsey with those guys because they've had some magic. Now all of a sudden you've got Boldy, Rossi, and maybe Johansson again. Okay, now it's starting to look a little different.
You've got 2 lines.
Now we might have 2 that can go. And then all of a sudden that takes the pressure off of a Marcus Foligno, who's now playing on a second line to have to play a certain style and change the way he's going and put the pressure on himself to have to score goals. It just changes everything. So if they can start to get some balance, I think all of a sudden the offense can come from different places. But when they're loaded up, it looks like it all has to come from one spot. And it did in the Anaheim game. It didn't in LA. That's why they won, and that's a big reason why they lost.
Thin margin for error. With the style of play we're playing right now, you have a very thin margin for error. I mean, that's what I'm hearing. I agree with you on the dirty ones, though. And that's where a guy like, I think, you saw Trennan get a couple. He was thrilled. One was the empty netter. I think Marat still looking for his, right? But if you can get some of these guys going, obviously Goudreau's been going. JoJo's been going a little bit this year. If you start getting and Moose, at times has been chipping in offensively, highest shooting percentage ever. But if we can start getting Hartman rolling, Foligno rolling, Eck even getting back to some of his offense, it's a totally different team. Then you are getting 3 goals, and it's really hard to score 4 against us.
Yeah, and again, let's just put this into perspective. Expectations are really high right now. They're actually winning games and still first in the West, and we're being critical of them.
Yeah,
that's a good problem to have. That's like the Patriots when they're super upset that they're 7-1. That's a good thing.
Yeah. Or the Chiefs doinking it in for the division.
So I do want to pivot and throw some credit out there. I think Husnudinov in the Anaheim game had a great game.
Yeah, I love watching him play.
He's the one that started.
You showed that play, where he started the whole thing.
I loved that play. Little guy on the forecheck, holds 2 bigger bodies off, extends the play, eventually draws the power play, and then the power play scores. Loved that play. And that was just one of probably 3 or 4 plays that he had on the night that I thought were really good plays. He looked engaged. He was fast. He had some shimmy. He looked good. And he helped the team win that game. And then Trenton gets the empty netter. That's terrific too. He goes the next night, gets another one. And both those goals really mean nothing, but they mean something to him.
They get it going.
And they meant something to the team.
Oh, yeah.
So don't discount that. I want to throw some credit Midsy's way right now too. We always hear next man up. But you don't always hear about the production of that individual when the next man is up. Jake Middleton is playing on average, I think, probably 4 to 4.5 more minutes per game and doing it really well. So I think he averaged just about 19, 20 a game, something like that, in the first 21 games of the season. Now he's up around 24.5 minutes a game. In the previous 2 games, I don't remember what he was in the LA game. He was +2 in the Vancouver game, +3 in the Anaheim game. In an elevated role, elevated minutes, more penalty kill, Jake Middleton continues to deliver. And I think that's the story. I looked at his stats. I think he's got like 70 points through 260-some games. He plays this role where he's like, oh, I'm meat and potatoes. I'm high off the glass.
I'm a bricklayer.
I've got this boat paddle. He's not.
Yeah.
He's not.
What is he? He's nifty.
He's better than that. He's like Willie Mitchell with a little more polish, like a little more offense.
Yeah, like he gets manicures once in a while.
Yeah.
He lays brick, but he might even get a French manicure, 13 points here. I think he likes to kind of deflect, but he can do a lot of good things, Mr. Middleton.
And he can continue to deflect as long as he continues to play that way. Maybe he likes that, like, I don't want the attention. I don't want this. I'd rather have the attention be on the duster and 2x4s, not on the play, right? But we'll quietly on the podcast pay attention and throw credit his way when he's playing good hockey, because he's been playing really good hockey.
He might be fancy. He's a little bit fancy. He's like, hold my teeth. But how about Rossi too? I mean, we don't talk about Rossi that much. I mean, 23 points.
Did you just have a little bit of an accent just kick right in when we don't talk about Rossi?
I should have.
Did anybody else hear that?
We don't talk about Rossi.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought it started to come. Like maybe started to get.
Well, he's on the podium here. Kirill 42 through 26. Holy buckets. Boldy, point a game guy. And Rossi 23 and 27. And then you drop all the way down to Zuki and Faber and Goudreau at 14 points. So Rossi has been, I guess the word there would be consistent.
Yeah. He's been really consistent. Where I got to give him credit is he's done a good job in development and building a foundation. And if you have a strong foundation, you want to cover it with a nice roof. And you want to make sure that everything inside of your house is taken care of. So if there's anything covering your protections that gives you angst, I think it makes sense to make sure you're taking care of the things you need to. So if this relates to you, Kinger, I know you've built a beautiful house, you've got a new roof, but if you have some exterior needs, if there's any warranty work that you need, maybe a new window patched up, something isn't sealed right now, and you want to make sure that foundation that you spent so much money on is taken care of, Wild Construction can do that. They specialize in the roof. They will take care of that, but nobody's getting on a roof in the middle of winter in Minnesota. But they can still fix your exterior stuff, your windows, any project you need. Give them a shout. wildconstruction.com. They'll make it happen.
That's by far the most Marco Rossi thing ever, that you were about to hand him his bouquet.
I'm going to get back to it.
You turned it to an ad.
I'm going to get back to it.
That is exactly what I'm talking about, that we just gave him. And I was like, what's he going to say? He really likes Rossi. He thinks he's consistent too, and then he's just Don Draper. He's Don Draper over there.
I know what's really going on here is that you're rattled that I had an unassisted goal right there, and I took it end to end myself because I've been waiting for a backdoor pass, haven't got one, so I just took it.
I know. I got to spend some time I think like Bart Simpson, I just got to write down 50 transitions to your ad reads just have them and kind of work through them throughout the year. But I did host the neighborhood holiday party last night. I like to host because when you host, you get to kind of do it your way. You don't have to go anywhere. Great spot to set up, Cub. Walk in there, get your paper plates, get the little plastic glasses for the wine or the champagne. You can get your spirits there. You can get your beer there at some of the Cubs. They will deliver as well. You can go in there and get the food you need, get the drinks you need. And, it's nice to have like the special IPA that somebody likes or the special drink that somebody likes or if somebody really wants the cheese ball or the meatballs, show your guests that you appreciate them. Come on over to Cub. They're one of us and they're wonderful.
Good
Just
job.
like Marco Rossi is wonderful and has been very consistent all season long.
He has been. He's been consistent, and back to the foundation piece. He's gotten better, in my opinion, from his first year. He learned from those lessons. I think he came up thinking that he was going to be in a different spot, and I think it was 9-10 games, no points, wasn't a factor, played in the minors, found his game, came back. Every year he's gotten better and better, and I don't think we give him credit for the strides that he's made. I think in a lot of people's eyes, he's just always been the same Marco Rossi. This is what he is. He's a compliment to Kirill Kaprizov and Matt Zuccarello because there isn't anybody else to do that. We say Eriksson Ek is great, and he is.
Is Rossi a baby Ek?
No, no, but I do think.
So hear me out on this, because there was all this there was chatter on the interwebs about trading Rossi. It was something that some people were writing about a lot, and I remember thinking, okay, this is weird, and it was a few months back, and I remember thinking, I wonder if this guy's like an Ek, where when he first came on the scene, I remember I didn't know how good he was or was going to be at all. I remember Wes Walls on the broadcast saying Ek's better than Brock Besser, and at the time thinking what are you talking about, man? Besser's off to a much flashier start than this Ek guy, and I didn't know how valuable he is, and you feel it right now when he's out because he does so many things. Is Rossi that? Can he be that someday, or is he? Maybe he's not big enough.
That valuable to the team.
I mean, yeah. So when you look at Ek's early seasons, I mean, he got better every year.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, he had this toolkit where he's power play, net front presence, penalty kill. He can score. He can agitate. Rossi seems like a toolkit guy. He seems like a guy in the summer. He goes, if somebody was like, hey, Rossi, you don't play hard enough. He would go to MMA class all summer. And I just wonder if he could be an Ek-type player where he may not have the size, obviously, but I wonder how good he can be, I guess, is another way to say it.
To your point, I do think that that's what he does, and he doesn't get credit for that. He takes the off season with intent, and he works at aspects of the game. And initially, when you asked that question, is he a baby Ek? I think he's learned from Eriksson Ek. I think he's watched him. I think this guy scores goals by going to the net, by being here. He plays the middle. I play the middle. The coach is like this. The coaches put him out there. I'm going to have to do some of those things if I want those minutes and that production. And Rossi, I think right now there's a mature balance to what he is and what he is not in his own mind. You're right. He is not Eriksson Ek's size. He cannot win battles like Eriksson Ek can. He has to find different ways to get to the net. And he has. Look at the Anaheim game and watch that goal. He actually loses that battle. But he was there. And he found a way to get there, and that puck hits off his hand and it goes in the back of the net. That's an Eriksson Ek goal. Eriksson Ek, on the other hand of that, is there, and the other guy's falling down while it hits off Eriksson Ek and goes in. Rossi's doing it. He doesn't have the same skill set Eriksson Ek does, but he's trying. He's working at it.
And when you picture Rossi's off season, don't you picture the Sound of Music? That's where I picture him just with a leather satchel somewhere.
Yodeling. Didn't we talk about this?
With his dad. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what it's like. I mean,
Ricola.
I picture him being like, Papa, I've just done a 7-mile run. And
I got the countries mixed up.
Carry the rucksack. But I don't know. I just picture him in a peaceful place.
But he's getting better. He's good. And
I mean, he's right. He's on the podium scoring wise.
So I made this point in the broadcast last game too. 5 of Rossi's last 6 points were teamed up with Kaprizov. 5 of Kaprizov's last 7 are teamed up with Rossi. It's not just a one-way street. It's not just that Kirill Kaprizov makes Rossi better. Rossi can play with Kaprizov too. That is a compliment. Mm-hmm. He can do it, right? You could put me there, and I'm not factoring in on 5 of Kaprizov's last 7 goals.
No,
because Kaprizov is great, and he'll make anybody better. That is true.
He can also expose you.
But Rossi is finishing, and he's finding him, and he's not forcing it, and they make plays, and it is pretty. It's working. He's gone, I think, just once this season, 2 games without a point. Kirill has gone twice in doing that. Like, Rossi's been incredibly consistent. So, credit to him. He's getting better. I don't think we pay attention to how much better he's gotten. And then if you're playing devil's advocate, it's, okay, let's analyze this. If you're going to win a Stanley Cup, that's what everybody wants to do. Is Marco Rossi's offense dynamic and good enough to offset a stature that is not that of top tier, big, huge NHL? There's one of the guys on the Spit and Chicklets that their philosophy is, go look at the last Cup winners. What they all have is huge number 1D.
Yeah,
Murley. Yeah. And
that's the Iser plan too. Yeah. Giant defenseman.
Right. There's an element to that up front too, into offense. Like, can I rely on you, Rossi? Can I rely on you to produce in a big game against big people like the LA Kings, you know? And that's where the question mark, I think, comes in. Don't know. And he has proven that he can continue to get better, and given time, maybe he can turn into that guy. Yes.
Yeah, no, it'll be, you got to give him credit for working on his game consistently. So should we just look ahead this week, and we haven't even mentioned our guest, the captain coming on. By the way, I thought he was, it's got to be hard to be the captain because you're kind of, you got so much media stuff. You got to say everything the right way, right? Everything's got to be done perfectly. I really enjoyed our conversation with him. I just thought he was kind of loose, and it was really fun. We talk about everything from Pulltabs, and we started off with a bang coming right at him out of the chute. I think you'll enjoy that, but that was the most I got to know Spurge since we've been doing this. I really thought it was a wonderful chat with Mr. Spurgeon.
Yeah, Wild with the first game coming up in Utah, so we'll just address that. I'm excited to see that it's a national broadcast game. I was a little bit bummed because I kind of wanted to do that one, check out the new facility, see what that's like. But hopefully the Wild can get back on track and win a game. I think Utah's gettable. They do that, then it's kind of off to the races. But yeah, I think it's a good time to get to Spurgeon now. I think there's more meat on the bone this week, but you and I have been chatting back and forth a little bit too much. We didn't even discuss the 4 nations and the roster release and what that looks like and how it'll affect the Wild players. Maybe we have a little bonus session at some point for that. But let's not bury the lead. Jared Spurgeon, here he is.
All right, we have a great guest today, sponsored by Duke Cannon. It's that time of year. If you need to give a great holiday gift, make somebody's hair a weapon, maybe some soap that smells like eggnog or Busch beer, head into the Target, head into the hardware store, get yourself some Duke Cannon. Work harder, smell better. We're here with the captain. I think it's been a couple years since you've been here, and it's a good time to have you. They're making T-shirts, you're having birthdays, you're scoring game winners. But we did want to start with a very difficult question for you. We're only asking this to you because you're on the D-Corps, and
you might know.
And you're a senior statesman. You're the captain.
And we feel that we're getting old. You're
young.
35 now. You're young.
Yeah, 35.
You got 35. Young kids,
but just young enough. He probably bridges the gap between young and old.
I feel like I'm getting set up for something.
No.
But there's new hockey all the time, and we need to know what this is.
And it's multiple choice, so there's no way. So top titty 2x4. Okay.
I knew this was coming.
So
What is?
you have
We know.
two choices. We broke it down into sections. We've concluded that top titty means top shelf. Carter and I are aligned on that. Choice 1 is 2x4 is a reference to a common piece of wood, even though hockey sticks are not wood anymore. The person who said this was a former bricklayer, so maybe he's referring to the stick as a 2x4. Or another suggestion from our producer is perhaps after top titty, the 2x4, he just needed to add something after saying top titty, additional syllables to create some distance from top titty on FanDuel and to kind of distract from top titty. Which do you think it is?
Well, and there's so my guess. I want to throw mine in there too. That 2x4, I initially thought it was like the space because the net's 6x4.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I was thinking too, but it could have just rolled off the tongue.
And then it was just the
too.
top of it, you know.
He picked the corner.
oh,
2x4.
wow.
That's what I thought. And then I was like, I don't know, because it was kind of like middle of the net.
Yeah.
So then I was like, maybe 2x4. Maybe he grew up on the pond and the net was made out of wood and that back bar was 2x4 wood. So it went top shelf, back bar, 2x4.
We could go with that.
So you don't know either.
No, like
So you are old.
the first. I don't think it's. I don't think it's a thing.
It's not a thing?
No, I don't
okay,
think
good.
so.
Because kids can say new thing like skibbity and riz and all of these things. And I've got no clue
I
what it
still
means.
don't. I honestly don't think this is a known like quote of hockey lingo.
Okay.
anymore.
Consider the
It is
source.
now.
Yeah, but now
It will be
there's
now.
There's a shirt out already. I saw too. about
Really?
it. So
Yeah.
it's but I think
Middleton's becoming like a folk hero across the NHL. He's on a nice little run.
No.
He's courtside at the Timberwolves game.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he's he's top titty 2x4, spitting chicklets.
He's everywhere right
He's
now.
on a run
Yeah,
right now.
I think it's the mustache, and you've been around him a lot too. He's a funny guy to be around and contagious, laughy when he gets going. But yeah, the top titty 2x4 is one I've never heard before. That's for sure.
Hey, so since we're on this, I've got to ask you. You've got 4 kids. Do they throw words around and like Riz, Skibbity, Sigma, Beta?
Yeah.
You know any of this, Kinger?
I only know Riz of that section of words you've said. Could you explain some of the other ones?
Do you know?
I don't know any. I know my oldest. He's a Bantam age player, and there's some comments that come out of his mouth, and I'm driving him, and I'm just shaking my head.
Yeah.
Don't know what they mean, but it doesn't make sense in any way.
Could you tell me one of those, what it is, so that I
So
can know?
Sigma means good.
Sigma, that's like a fraternity symbol or something?
Yeah, it's like Sigma, Beta. Like it's
Okay.
not Alpha, it's not Beta, it's like Sigma. So it's like you're chill.
Okay, you're off to the side. You're not.
You're like chill.
A.
You're like cool. That's good.
Sigma's
you
cool.
want to be Sigma.
What's bad then?
I think
Beta?
I think Beta,
Okay.
but I don't know that they use it like that.
Yeah.
So you couldn't go throw Sigma out there and be like, hey, let's not be Beta out there because that's not cool.
Yeah, it has to roll off the tongue in
Yeah.
a different way. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like
I don't
top
think-
titty 2x4.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It does roll off the tongue.
My
Actually.
favorite part about it was when he said that was just, I think the panic in his eyes once it came out of his mouth.
Well, I want to talk to Gorgie because my favorite part was Gorgie. He didn't know what to do after.
It
It was
was
pure
silent.
pause.
So is it live? Is it live on
next
TV?
question.
Live on TV, and it's being broadcast into the stadium on like the loudspeaker.
Yeah, you can hear it.
Oh
all.
man!
And it's in the dressing room too. So
And this is
Really?
yeah, it's on the TV in the dressing room. So it's the best part. I think, like you said, it was just sort of like an awkward silence for a couple of seconds to regroup and get the interview back going.
Yes. Okay, back on track.
It's good.
Yeah, he's a beauty. So can you talk a little bit? It's so funny when we were starting the year, it was, got to get off to a great start. We could really feel something different in camp. Just the energy, it just felt serious and important, and like everybody was ready to go. And the team has you've just been on fire. And I mean, did you feel that coming, or I mean, just how much fun are you having, I guess, right now?
Yeah, I think right from the beginning of camp and even the week prior, we had all guys in and skiing together. And obviously the year prior, we weren't happy with the way the season had started. And it puts you in a hole, and you have to chase it. And camp was hard. It was from day one. It was a hard camp with a lot of battle, and they weren't crazy long, but it was an intense practice every single day you're out there, whether you're playing in the exhibition game or just the practice or the scrimmages. So it was a different feel right from the beginning. I think that came from guys not being happy with the way the season went prior. And obviously you talk about wanting to have a good start, but you got to put the effort in to get that feeling within the room. And I think we had confidence from the beginning of training camp with going through the exhibition games as well. And obviously with Heinze coming in halfway through the year last year, there wasn't a lot of practice time. So with training camp, we really dialed it in, and we're able to really look at your systems and work on those right away.
I think this is dangerous territory for the players. Like a hard training camp, everybody's talked about. There's a lot of success. That's the last thing I think they want. They might want to stop referencing how tough training camp was, because that might be the new precedent.
Yeah, I know, but it's working right now, so I think we're all pretty happy with it.
So how does the mentality change? Because a lot of teams are unhappy. 31 teams are unhappy with the way last year went. How does it just like turn around?
I think just internal motivation as well within yourself. Obviously, every guy wants to be at their best year-round, but then as a team, we all care about each other, and we all want to get to that end point where you're the champion and you're holding that trophy up at the end of the year. And to not even give yourself a chance to go after that trophy when you don't make the playoffs, that's a little extra sting as well. So I think we all look back on that season, and it sat with you throughout the summer, and there's just that little extra drive throughout training camp when you're going through those hard practices and stuff like that it just pushes you.
Yeah, how do things change for you? Just turning 35 now, and you've got more years under your belt, I think, playing than you do out in front of you, and winning is something I'm sure that is probably on the forefront of your mind all the time. Like how does that change all of a sudden when you're like, all right, I've only got a couple of years left and a few more kicks at the can here, man. Like we gotta figure this out.
Yeah, I think when you're young, you're sort of naive to everything going on. You're just trying to prove yourself, and you're trying to. Well, my first couple of years, you're just worrying about staying up and playing valuable minutes, but being a part of the team. But as you go on, you realize how little of a chance you have every single year. It's so hard to win. And for us as players, like you went through it, that you think you can have an unbelievable team that has a chance, and then you just match up against a team that for some reason has your number that year. So the margin for error is so small that every year you look at it and you that's your goal. And by the end of the year, you want to give yourself a chance to go after it, like I said, with being in the playoff position.
You make a really good point, because I think Billy too is really fair with young guys and giving them deals. You look at Boldy, you look at Faber, and before that they need to get these deals done so that they can just focus on playing hockey. Do you think in some ways that puts winning more at the forefront than the thought like we had when we broke in was like, I just got to find a way to stay here, and then you're halfway through your career and you're like, finally, I feel established. Let's focus entirely on winning.
Yeah. Well, you know what a contract year is like. You put pressure on yourself, and if the start of the year doesn't go right, then it could go completely opposite for you. And when you have that security in your back pocket, and those guys, like you mentioned, definitely earned it, and they're such a big part of our team that puts it behind you, and you're just worried, like you said, about winning and the team in front of you. It's not about goals, points, all the highlight reel stuff. It's about getting to the end and being that last team standing.
That's such a great point, because I saw Patty Maroon on the TV with the Blackhawks yesterday, and I was thinking, even when Revo was here, you remembered it. These are these big personalities, but they're in a different locker room every year, and they're trying to figure it out. And once you have a deal, you've been in the Wild, since the beginning. I mean, it really just comes down to, we live here, we want to have success. It's closer to being a high school athlete nowadays when you don't have transfer portals and everything else. It's like, I'm going to go have to see all these people. Either we're going to win or we're not going to win. And I think it's awesome. I wanted to ask you, you're obviously a team guy, but this last week, I mean, Spurgapalooza. We got T-shirts. It's your birthday. I think you score 2 goals after hosting Thanksgiving. You got a game winner in the white jerseys at home. There was literally, the newspaper came to my driveway, and I think the headline in the Pioneer Press was like, "Spurgeon's so hot right now." I'm thinking, you're having your birthday. Is that just that had to just be fun, like the universe having some health problems last year and just kind of having that time with your family and just, was that cool just to sort of have it all add up? Not that it was just about you, but I mean, it was pretty great, the stuff that was happening to you.
Yeah, I think it started with Thanksgiving, being able to have all the guys that didn't have stuff going on over to the house. We have a good, close group of guys, and there's a lot of kids running around too. I think we had about 20 kids and 30 adults in the house, so it was busy. But with our team, it's just fun to be around each other, and not only do we care about each other on the ice, it's off the ice as well. And obviously we had a big week and a big homestand coming, so to be able to get those wins was important for us before we again head out on the road again, especially when I feel like we've been on the road the entire
season,
first part of the season. But it was obviously fun. With you go through stuff last year, and I think that you come back to the game and you just enjoy all the little things after missing it for a full year. So every day you just don't take it for granted anymore, because you know how fast it can be taken away.
Yeah. So how was it for you? Because training camp, I thought you had a great camp. I think you scored early in that one too, maybe your first game back in camp. And then the season seemed to start off pretty well, and then you miss a couple games, and it's like, what was that roller coaster like? Is that tough?
Yeah, I was probably in a pretty big mental blunder there for a bit. You go through training camp, like you said, and felt pretty good, and then just out of nowhere, sort of something pops back up again, and then first thought in your mind is, oh no, here we go again. And for a couple of days, you don't really have answers, but we talked to different doctors throughout the world as well, and then got some different perspectives on what was going on, and just some time away was the main thing to do. So it was definitely tough, but at the same time, the team was away on a road trip, and they're winning games, so that makes it a lot easier.
Yeah, and then you come back, and you've gotten better and better. Then you score a couple of goals. It's like, all right, finally, good. Now we're settled, and you're back.
Yeah, I think it's more, the goals are awesome, but the wins are most important. But I think for myself, it was just sort of getting back the feeling of the game again. Just like the pace, your gaps, just little plays that you don't really realize you realize they're important, but you lose them with not playing in a game. Just practicing throughout the summer, it's not the same as getting out there and doing those things. So just sort of the reactionary part of it was taking some time, and I admit I was pretty frustrated at the start, because you just expect to jump back in, but it's been feeling a lot better lately.
I've got so many hosting questions for you right now. Last night was the Wild Foundation Gala.
Yeah.
Who stole the show serving everybody else? Like, anybody look extra good in their, what are those, aprons?
Yeah, the aprons are pretty nice. They've gotten a lot better since the first days, but I saw Lauco and Moret were actually carrying the trays.
Like off?
Yeah, actually, I have zero confidence in myself to hold the tray. So I just wait for them whoever is helping me, my helper was named Megan, so she would bring it out, and then I would have the dishes out, but they had the full-on trays going and everything like that, and I have zero confidence in myself.
So you were like, oh, pour the wine.
Yeah, just have 2 hands, white, red, and then just walk around and keep it going.
How do you handle the wine at Thanksgiving? Because it's a 1:00 game the next day. It's like you might see the bottle empty, and you're like, well, I am the captain. We do have a 1:00 game. Like, how do you handle that?
Yeah, it was a earlier dinner, so that's good. But a lot of waters beside the wine bottles. But you only open up a certain amount to start, so you sort of have control on that. And everyone was pretty good out. Like I mentioned, there's a lot of kids there too, so that adds a little chaos to it. But the early game definitely helped the bill of wine.
No,
so that's good.
So who picks out the wine?
Danielle picked out the wine this year, so usually she's the go-to on the wine connoisseur there. Jason Zucker is a big wine guy, so we send a text to him to see which one's the best sort of for a big group, and he helped us out there. But that that was her deal.
What are your hosting duties? Like, are you cooking? Are you cleaning? Are you staying out of Danielle's way until everything's good? Are you right at her side saying, yeah, I'll do it. I'll take care of this.
This year we catered in a bunch of the food, so that was a lot better, a lot easier. So we just did the hams actually ourselves this year. So I was on there, made it was a slow cooker, crock pot type thing going. Got 3 hams in there and then made the sauce and just kept basting it throughout the afternoon and carved it up. So that was my job. And then it depends on the party, how it's going. So that one, like I said, it was pretty mellow compared to the Halloween one or Christmas ones we've had in the past. But then when everyone leaves, you're usually feeling pretty good about yourself, and just cleanup happens a bit easier when you're feeling that way.
Yeah, so you're not like running around like vacuuming, setting up tables, like sweating from the garage to the...
You just let it happen, and then when everyone's gone, you figure it out then.
All right, one more on this because I'm intrigued. In the photo, it looked like Zach was at the big person table. Now, is this the first kid at the big table?
I think last year he was there too. Okay. So he's bypassed the kids table.
All right.
Yeah,
he's graduated.
Yeah, but I think he thinks we're losers too. So he doesn't even hang out with us. At the kids table. He eats with us, and then he just takes off upstairs and doesn't even hang out with us.
Who are the kid all-stars? Like the players that are on their hands and knees. All the kids want to. Maybe they're playing mini sticks somewhere. Like, are there some dudes that are just roll up the sleeve,
break out a sweat?
Yeah, like Uncle Kirill, or like who are the players that the little kids love?
So we have very fortunate to have a sport court in the basement. Yep. So it was a gong show down there. We had Johnny Merrill shooting buckets all day.
You mean Larry Bird?
Larry Bird throwing up threes. So he was down there. Freddie usually ends up in net for the kids. Krill's down there. I think everyone usually takes a little turn to go down and check it out. And then the girls were doing some gymnastics down there. So there's a couple mats and stuff like that. So any sport you want to do was on display that day.
How were the first time dads at Thanksgiving? Were they like, hand the baby over, honey, you grab an extra glass of wine tonight, I got this?
Like, with the early game, I think the wives had a little more fun than we did. So
the dads are just rocking the babies. Because what is there, 3 or 4?
Hartman, Middleton.
Yeah.
Goudreau,
but they weren't there. And then the Zuccarellos have a younger one as well, and then the Shores, they have a younger one as well. So there's a couple babies, but the wives got to take advantage, especially with the early game.
John would like to know, are there any baby Bjorns in the house? Because he put a strong recommendation out to Middleton that it's a must-have.
I like a front pack.
Yeah.
And a guy like Jake needs to have his hands free. I mean, you see what he does on national TV. I think, were there any front packs? Did he take my advice?
There was a wrap. It wasn't a baby Bjorn, but it was definitely a wrap, but it was not on Jake.
Okay.
But maybe you need
We've talked about some stuff, but I'll circle back with them.
Yeah.
Are you doing an outdoor rink? We've heard you're an ODR guy. We take this quite passionately on the podcast. Are you building a rink in your yard this year or not?
It is going, and for the last week they've been out there cruising around, so it's been awesome. It's not as nice as Carts. Carts is perfect. It looks, especially from the pictures, but mine have some blemishes.
And this is not outsourced. There's no catering here. This is all you.
I do not build it. So, I do not get out there and build it yet. I think that I can do that maybe when I'm done.
Yeah.
No, a little more time. So, but I do the flooding, water, all that stuff is my job. I got the old Red Dragon.
The Red Dragon.
For any little bumps on there.
You know the Red Dragon?
I do not. I just used a hose.
Yeah. You just attach it to propane tank, and it's like a torch.
The Red Dragon's like the giant torch.
Yeah, so
when you have a high spot, you just burn it off.
Yeah,
I was doing mortar work on like my hands and knees with snow, like the refs do when there's like a spot,
Yeah, so I just
Red
put a
Dragon
propane tank, have a sled behind me, pull it around, and just torch it.
The greatest thing about if you get the base down, the little 45-minute sprinkle and it's cracking under your feet and you're under the stars.
Yeah.
That is just paying you back. That's better than skating on it.
No, that nighttime flood's nice.
Yeah.
It's nice.
It is nice. And the cracking it's a great sound.
Makes it stronger.
But at the same time, it makes me nervous. It's like, don't.
It does it loud sometimes.
Yeah. I know, and you're like, don't split right down the middle.
It was 3 years ago. We were on the road, and we had a heavy snow, and I wasn't there, and Danielle was like, should we shovel? I was like, no, it's probably slush underneath. Came home, just a perfect size 5 foot right through the side of the ice. Our son tried to hop on there, and water came up on top, and that was probably a 3-week red dragon absolute battle of trying to get it back down and get the snow off and get it back to even. So that was a alerting.
That's where you bust out the "season's over" chant.
Yeah, just cut the tarp.
Over.
You cut it and just let it go.
Mail it in.
Yeah.
What are the kids working on out there?
Zach is straight shots right now. He's
trying to hit the 2x4
now. Yeah, not the. Yeah, he tries to find that upper corner. Jace, so he's 7. He's all about trying to figure out how to do the Michigan. So he's out there putting it up against the boards, getting it on a stick.
Oh, funny.
And then doing that. And then our daughters, they skate out there, but they don't play hockey, but they enjoy the outdoor rink. So it's fun to see them just get out there and cruise around.
Yeah, good.
So I can ask you this because I grew up there too. You're a cake eater, technically. Your family is.
Yeah.
Have you had any moments where you're like, either with the kids or yourself, like the kids like, can I wear golf gloves under my, gloves, or like maybe like you couldn't find
What's the thread count on this neck guard?
You couldn't find a Rivian charging station or something. Like, have you ever had a moment yet where you're like, man, this Edina thing's getting real, either as a parent or as a...
For we try and keep the kids pretty humble. They wear choppers out there, but I think the vest thing is the thing that I really noticed.
The puffy vest?
The puffy vest in winter, and I'm not a vest guy, but I noticed that for sure.
Yeah, that's a thing for sure. I like that they're wearing choppers.
Tell me about this thing. It's just a puffy vest?
Yeah.
Puffy vest.
Like a quarter zip and a puffy vest or something?
It's just a puffy vest is the best way. It just means you've been to Palm Springs in the last 2 months.
Yeah, they have a little tan going too. Yeah.
Yeah, the puffy vest is real. Your back end has just had a wonderful start to the year with obviously yourself. Broads is hurt right now, but Favor, Middleton, Bogo, Johnny Vibes, all of them. Do you think of that as a unit? Like, if you're watching the Lioness, are the D guys kind of a group together and you have some different chemistry and you're rooting for each other? Because statistically and obviously wins and losses have been great. Talk about some of the guys back there.
Yeah, I think if you got a chance to stand on the bench, you should come to our end. If there's a nice sauce out there, there's some hooting and hollering, there's some funny stuff going on the back end, and I think we all just want the best for each other. Obviously, defense sometimes can be a thankless job of just getting the puck up to the forwards and letting them do their thing, but
eating one-timers,
facing the glass on breakouts, and all that type of stuff. But we have a great group back there that supports each other and really encourages each other back there. But every shift there's something going on, whether a guy falls or, like I said, a nice sauce pass. There's some sort of chirp going on. We were talking about the other game. I made a pass, like just a simple backhand, like baby sauce pass. Like I probably didn't even need to sauce it. And I'm at the far end, and I could just hear the D-corps just yelling at me about how nice the sauce was. And I'm literally standing on the blue line laughing in a 2-2 game with like 3 minutes left. So the D-corps, we love to hype each other up.
Speaking of sauce, what's the ticket on a 2-on-1 with Kirill Kaprizov?
Like, if he has the puck?
Well, just how do you play it?
It's just wait for it to hit your stick, I guess. Or
close your eyes, swing your stick, and it'll be there.
Well, that was a surprising pass too. It just seemed to be floating the entire time when he gave it to me, and just tried to one time it as quick as possible.
Isn't that amazing? How much of that is confidence? How much of that is skill? Like he's coming in on his forehand, and he brings it to the backhand, and then decides I'll just throw a backhand sauce to you over there, right through Roman Yossi, right on the tape.
It's a nice floater too. I saw him take a peek back, but I was a decent way behind him, and he had a good angle at the net. So I was like, he's just gonna end this himself as usual. And then all of a sudden I saw it floating in the air. I was like, oh, crap, I better finish this one. And I got lucky, and it went through the legs and into the net.
I don't think you got lucky. What changes? So I think a lot of people that play hockey, a lot of the people that listen understand 5-on-5 and what it's like when you get on the ice. Does the mentality change when it's 3-on-3? Like what's going through your head? Is like
win the face off,
get up the ice. Is it like let's end this? Is it like what's the mentality like?
You got to be more patient. There's times where you could force something in there, and it's just better to bring the puck back and get some speed, and you're honestly just waiting for them to make a mistake in coverage or something like that to break down. So I think it's fun to watch. It's fun to be a part of. And obviously, like you said, winning the faceoff's a big key to it so that you can hold on to that puck. But I think it's just making more high percentage plays. And 5-on-5, you can maybe throw one in there and hope for a tip or something like that. But 3-on-3, you're not really doing that.
It's so good. Like, it's so funny that we used to think the shootout was cool for like 5 minutes when it first was launched. Now, man, that 3-on-3, because just like you said, you see them wait. But the thing is, once one team makes a mistake, if you don't score on it, it's 3 times back and forth before you can settle it down again. I mean, it's great hockey to watch, and it's fun. It's funny with 97, we were talking, a couple of years ago, there was a lot of this, circling the offensive zone, skating around. He is threading the needle on some passes that, I'd be terrified to be out there with him because it's going to find your stick. And he's getting it through small areas. Is that just something that, did you notice that in practice, that he's always loved passing, but it seems like he's really dialed in on distributing this year?
Yeah, I think his all-around game is just so good that he sees it so well that he knows when he's the better threat and he's going to take it at that point. But if there's an opportunity to set up a teammate, he's going to do that as well. He's a very unselfish player. And today in practice, he had just a pass where you could tell he wanted to sauce it over a stick, but then he decided just to put it through someone's leg to the guy far side. Like, there's just little things like that you don't really think about, like looking at where the guy's feet are all the time, and he just finds ways to get pucks to other guys, and he's just such a threat himself that he has respect from the other team as well, that he can make those plays so that if they give him too much space, then he can just bury it himself.
How does he hit these spinorama passes? Because he doesn't miss them.
No, they're right on the tape.
Every single time.
They're rockets.
He's pulled them off. It's not like he's turned, I haven't seen him turn a single one over.
No, you can see him take like a little look, but then you're like, all right, he's not looking anymore, and then he just zings it across, and it's a backdoor tap in.
Sometimes he's not looking. I'm like, how does this guy do this in his head where he can like take the picture,
uses the glass,
and then press play a little bit in his brain, wait 3 seconds, and then hit it?
Because usually, like the one to Zuki moved a good 5 feet.
He was
he looked.
He was at the blue line when he looked.
Yeah, and then he hit him backdoor. Yeah. So I don't know. If I did that, it'd probably be breakaway the other way and be sitting on the pine for the rest of the game.
Well, that's no doubt. Like Hines would be walking down. Hey,
that's not you. That's
really good play, but we only let 97 make
exactly.
Yeah.
No, I wonder if he has an extra eye, maybe in the back there somewhere.
I don't know how.
No,
it's crazy.
Or he's got like some type of vision. I don't know, man. Yeah. It's something to watch.
You always got to be ready when he has the puck. That's for sure.
You play other sports growing up?
I dabbled in a couple. Yeah, I played soccer growing up. Played baseball for a year, but that was too slow for me. And then actually went in Edmonton. Ball hockey was really big. So not roller hockey, is the same type of thing.
Like in a gym?
But you're in like a rink. They just take the ice out, and then you run. So was my way of sort of playing hockey, but it wasn't very like competitive. Like I was playing with buddies from school that didn't really play hockey. It was like glorified street hockey. So I played that probably from age, I want to say like 10 on till 17. And we had a pretty good team. We won nationals a couple times. We won Westerns for Canada a couple times. And I got to play with my brother, which I never really got to since he was older than me. But at that age gap when we would play up because we had a good team, so I was able to play with him. Tyler Ennis, we got to play together a lot as well, and it was just a fun time because it wasn't too serious, but it was still working on your game at the same time, and a couple different rules that were pretty cool. As soon as you crossed the blue line, the red line became the blue line, so you had half ice to play with, so you could sort of exploit the teams that way. So it was fun, a fun time.
Yeah, good, man. Before we get you out of here, just a couple more. What's the right way to eat a honey stinger? And would you consider that a cookie? Because Kinger buried a honey stinger before we got on here.
Yeah.
So just
and
to
he's
be,
like, I'm a high performance athlete. I only
Vanilla
eat healthy.
Captain, hold on. Just to be clear, if you don't know, a honey stinger is a energy-rich product used commonly by professional
I noticed you were
athletes.
buzzing a little bit more.
Yeah, he's high stepping.
Yeah.
You know, Jackson Gray guys, chartered planes, Fiji water. It's a high quality professional athlete food. It is not a cookie.
What did you go with? Vanilla?
I went with the salted caramel, but I am curious about a stack situation.
He wanted more.
Like a double stuff.
I've
Have you ever seen a player maybe go 3, stack them?
I've only seen a double decker.
Okay, who did the double decker?
Who do you think?
Middleton?
Yeah.
I just blew my nose.
Yeah.
Even though I knew you were going to say it,
Yeah,
it's still
so
surprising. So he's gone double decker, but he
Yeah.
doesn't do a baby Bjorn.
No.
I see how it is.
Yeah.
All right.
He's an athlete.
Is a honey stinger a cookie or an energy source? Because it's like a Stroop waffle. That's like exactly what it is.
I think it's more like a dessert.
It's a treat.
actually. Yeah, it's like if you want something sweet, you're going for a stinger, but you're sort of healthy.
And
at
it's
the same
marketed to be healthy.
Yeah, but you have all the sugar in there. It's honey, but
You know what?
I noticed you're flying out there when we came down the stairs.
Give me a win.
Yeah.
Give me a win. Let's finish with some random stuff. So this is gonna be the return of the Wags. Danielle's gonna be on here, I think, with Hartman's wife.
Okay.
You got anything for us? Like, your wife's kind of the mayor of the Wags, but I'd like to come at her. I'm sure she's not gonna listen to this. So, like, if we could you got anything useful for us? I'd like to give her a standing 8 count, like come at her with something where she's like, whoa.
No, I can't do that on air. Maybe off.
All right. If
She
she
might
won't know where
listen
it's-
to this.
Yeah, she won't know where it's coming from.
If you pass a note to us, and it'll be, I don't know who it's from. We can blame Fleury
yeah,
somehow.
yeah,
right?
bring it back to him.
It could
somehow.
be back to him, but I want to come out strong and keep the plate spinning a little bit since she's returning to the program.
You could.
Maybe Hartman's wife. You got anything there? That could
No,
be.
she's also a saint. So
Okay.
you could ask about our just talk
Here we
about
go.
concerts this summer. We hit a lot of concerts. So ask her what your favorite one was at.
Okay, big music lover.
Yeah, loves
Got it.
music. Old time music as well. We have a little record player downstairs. She's a big Fleetwood Mac
Nice.
fan. But Stevie. But yeah, maybe ask about.
I saw your
favorite
wife
concert.
at Wyatt Flores. Is
Yeah.
that you or her being a fan of Wyatt Flores?
We both enjoy. We were on the
He's-
road, so I was pretty
he's a
jealous.
stud.
Yeah, she let me know that you were there as well, but I was very jealous that you guys got to see him in that. Was it First Ave?
Yeah, it was weird though because it was all ages and I don't know. You had to be upstairs, but he was great. If you like Zach Bryan and that type of music or Stapleton, check out Wyatt Flores. He's
Yeah.
a young buck coming up in the world.
Big sort of. I like folky indie
Mm-hmm.
music, so that's sort of our vibe. But country as well. So I don't know. I feel like Minnesota gets a lot of great concerts. So we're pretty lucky.
Is Danielle a fan of Pulltabs?
Oh yeah, we're a big Pulltab family.
Oh,
Big
this
Pulltab.
is great.
Yeah.
This is a great.
Okay, this is where we're gonna end this.
This is a
my
great finish.
At Bunnies?
Shirt in my backpack for the road right now is a Bunnies T-shirt with pull tabs on the back.
Okay,
So,
you're going to help us get to the bottom of some stuff.
Okay.
We got a couple things.
All right. He's got to get out of here, but we'll do.
First is tipping. Okay, so I've heard 20% on a tip. I've heard 10% on a tip. It seems like you only tip with the serial number, but we were trying to figure it out, and we're like, man, I think the Pulltab person might be making like $800 a night if you're tipping 20%.
Yeah.
What do you think tipping wise? What's the go-to?
Honestly, it depends on the winnings. No, so
I think it does.
If you're winning like a $2 ticket, like
You don't tip on that. No, you don't tip on anything without a serial
No tip
number.
without a driver's
Well, let's
license.
say you're playing a
That's what we
$5
just-
box and you hit 1,000. You going 20%. You're gonna give 200.
That seems like a lot.
I know.
Yeah.
But that's what you would do at a nice restaurant. You don't change it based on.
yeah, are they judging you if you come up and don't do that? Like,
Right.
are they giving you the bottom of the barrel when
Well,
you
they're
come up the
judging
next
you. They know who you are.
No, but when next time you come to get your next bucket, are they just taking the ones they know are losers from
Yeah.
underneath and giving it if you don't tip them the right way?
It just seems like a lot.
So what do we think? What do we decide? 10%.
I think
I
10%.
think 10. Yeah.
10's good?
Yeah.
That's respectable.
Unless you got some mojo and like she helped you switch a box and you feel like she's
talked
on.
you out of something,
Yeah,
and
she's on your team.
Yeah.
But for me, that's an argument for e-tabs. You know how nowadays, like let's say you go anywhere, you order your coffee. I would get a coffee black and it's like $5. You put your card in there, then they spin it around.
And they say
they look at your soul,
and then they say,
and you're like,
just a quick question.
You press no, and then you get one of
press
these.
medium?
You get as you press no tip.
Yeah, and they just like, and like,
you see
give me that coffee before you put anything in
Yeah,
there.
have you seen you know what they say when they spin the screen around too? They go, just one more question.
Yeah.
Just hit that button right
And
there.
then they have to flip it back and they can see what you press. That's dirty.
That doesn't happen with
you gotta hold it so
Pilot
they
Games
don't see it,
e-tabs.
just
That
No.
doesn't happen.
tap
Yeah,
on it.
Pilot Games has that covered.
Yeah.
Can I just do a rapid fire couple thoughts? Okay.
Yeah.
You win a Pulltab, you tear the doors off, get all the doors off and set the winners separate?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you ask the lady to dig deep in the box or is that weird?
I do not ask her to dig deep. No.
I didn't mean that. Okay, so you go for one, Carts. I gotta take a break.
Do you open all of them at one time?
Yeah. Usually stack a pile and then open, toss.
Open one door at a time?
Yeah.
And then you have to start at the top because you start at the bottom.
Yeah.
So you go 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
I do the side crack on the
get
right.
all
to
three?
see all three.
Yeah. I'm a single.
If you see a line, do you let it simmer? Or you go right away?
I go right away. I
Really?
Get
Got it.
excited.
I'm a big simmer guy.
Yeah, I like to let it
Let
sweat.
it sit over there.
Yeah.
Do you
to
clean
get.
up?
Yeah. But you feel the terrible part about that strategy is you're let down more often than
Yeah.
I know it's a
Because
three.
it's more often a playback and you're like,
yeah,
So-
a 3-line 12.
You could already be back up in line buying
Yeah,
more.
exactly.
It went quicker.
Do you clean up losers? Does that wreck the vibe? So if you got all the piles of losers around, you sending someone out for a basket to feel fresh?
So always have a basket, but usually just leave it there. They just sit there.
Wow.
Look at them in disappointment for a while, and then if it starts overflowing too much, then you take.
and you just throw a pile. So I stack all my losers nicely into each
Yeah,
other.
the tidy. yeah, I do the same.
Yeah, no,
and then
I'm-
you can like turn it into like a circle.
Make it a heart.
Yeah, something.
You've been doing this for longer. Like we've only learned about pull tabs when we got to Minnesota.
Canadians,
Like,
yeah.
Yeah, we don't
It's a
have them
thing.
back home, so.
Yeah.
We're sort of barbaric with the way we get rid of the pull tabs. You just chuck them in there, and then that's it.
Oh, it's good. This is freewheeling, Mr. Spurgeon. This
I
is.
like it. Well,
I really do need some content on the wags. If they're both saints, I don't want to sit there and do the sign of the cross the whole podcast.
There's something
Give me
in
something
there.
to
Pull
work with.
tabs and country music. There's
the concerts.
we could get underneath it.
Yeah, we'll do research. Check the social media.
They enjoy it. Danielle loves champagne, tequila.
Tequila.
Yeah.
Casa Azul.
Yeah, ask her about her green card process. She really loved that, getting her green card for the last couple of years. That was fun.
Did I tell you that? You know the bottle that Casa Azul, or however you say that? Is that how you say that?
I think so.
Yeah, where you do the bing.
Yeah. So
little
at some
bell.
point, I want to use that as my hip replacement. Like that's going to be the top
The
of
ball. Yeah. Every time you take it, try to ding.
Just use the cork piece and just put it right into the bone, and the top part will be
Yeah.
like the hip joint. And
Nice.
then, and just,
Do you think you've said that a lot? You think you could actually do that? Is it that similar, the metal?
yeah, if you look at what the hip joints
That's
are,
the
it's
same thing?
identical. Yeah, I'm just going to
It's
use
the top
that.
of a ball.
Yeah.
You could do it.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate you stopping by.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, this was
It's
great.
always fun.
Keep
Best-
doing exactly what you guys are doing, please.
Yeah,
it makes
best-
everyone's life easier.
Best of luck with your next
And
pull
good
tab
luck with
adventure.
your Riz top titty
Stigma.
stigma.
Sigma.
Sigma?
Shit.
Nice,
Sigma
we got it
squad.
wrong. That's how
All right.
old we are.
Squad is Sigma,
All right,
baby.
bye.
Peace. Later.
Yeah.